Welcome to the Oregon Fan Show on Fan Media. Welcome in, everyone. I'm TJ Brassil. I'm joined by Tyler Petersen and Juwaan Williams. And just a quick background on us. I was an Oregon Track&Field athlete from 2012 to 2017. Juwaan was a football player from 2013 to 2018. And Tyler Petersen, he's our voice of reason on the show. He did not go to Oregon. He went to Arizona State, but all three of us have worked at or with the Pac-12 network at some point for the last few years. So we know plenty about what's going on in the conference and of course with our Oregon Ducks. So boys, if you guys have anything.
Happy to be here, man. TP, anything you got?
No, we've all been good buds. We've been working together. TJ and I are associate producers with the Pac-12 network. Juwaan, you're working with the conference with football. So we all know Oregon pretty well. You guys being former athletes, I having got ASU, being in the conference as a fan, as a student, and now as a professional. So this will be a fun discussion to have. And I think I like to bring, like you said, a little voice of reason sometimes these discussions. So it'll be pretty fun.
And we'll try not to be too much of a homer, but like at the same time, it is the Oregon show. So like we can be kind of homers. It's fine.
Yeah.
But also you touched on something that I do want to point out is that all of our views and anything we talk about are our views solely. It has nothing to do with the networks or with the conference. So I don't want anyone to get any of that confused before we get started. But as we get started, I know March Madness is going on. We're going to get to that. But just a couple weeks ago, a big thing for Oregon happened that maybe I'm a little biased and want to talk about, but we're going to talk about it for a quick second. Oregon Track&Field, another national championship. Guys, this was their 32nd national championship for the Oregon Track&Field program, the 5th indoor for men's, the 18th overall for men's, Coach Johnson's 14th overall. And when people talk about, yeah, well, you can like win multiple track and field NCAA championships in 1 year. So like, is that as cool? Like, first of all, it's a national championship. So yes, it's cool. But secondly, I was looking at the numbers. They've won a championship in 21 years. So if you want to take out multiple in a year, they still got 21. So there's Bama football. There's Duke. Oregon Track&Field. Just wanted to put it out there. If you guys got anything, go for it.
I mean, is there any better way to inaugurate the new Hayward Field in your mind, Teach?
No, absolutely not. I mean, if they want, if we can go pull out another natty at Hayward in the first year, I mean, like that'd be pretty cool. But you know, that's some good momentum going into their outdoor season. Hopefully, they'll be able to have some fans in attendance at that beautiful facility that I really, really want to go see soon. But all right, so I had my little track and field moment. We will have more. This will not be the only one. But back to the other big tournament, or a couple big tournaments going on right now. There's some amazing things happening with not just Oregon, but the Pac-12 conference has come out of nowhere in this tournament, guys.
I wouldn't say nowhere. You know, the West Coast isn't really looked upon for basketball or football these days, and the Pac-12 on the women's and men's side are representing. I'd say when you look at top to bottom, we're not the most flashiest, but when it comes down to tournament time, by golly, look out, we're coming.
I mean, I think some of these teams might be taking some of these Pac-12 teams a little less seriously because, hey, maybe it's seen as a less serious conference, not a Power Five, even though it is. But I mean, every single team won up till today when Colorado lost, ending the great career of McKinley Wright at Colorado. But hey, the Ducks beating up on number 2 Iowa. I don't know if Iowa saw that coming. I mean, technically Oregon was the underdog, but we are talking about the Pac-12 champions too. And to drop, was it 56 in the first? I mean, they never looked back from there. It was close to starting out. You thought, oh, this would be a really good game. Guards are going up against the Duarte and sort of the core 5 that Oregon has now. But they went on, I think it was like a little 13-something run right at the end of the first, and then they just took off, and Iowa didn't have an answer.
Yeah, and I mean, the play-by-play, and everyone was pointing out, like, it seemed like the plan of attack was like, Garza's going to get his points, let Garza get his points, and stop everyone else. And that succeeded pretty well because Garza had about half their points and the rest of the team couldn't really do anything. But with Pac-12 having now 4 other teams in, and now we get to see a similar foe in USC, someone that we're used to, that beat Oregon in the regular season, but they only played them once. Now USC has some bulletin board material in the fact that like even Isaiah Mobley, I believe it was, said in the post game of USC today that like they think that Oregon stole a Pac-12 championship from them because they didn't get to play this and like as enough games or whatever that was. So now he's given Oregon some bulletin board material. Now we're going to get to see, they're going to get to duke it out on the court for a chance to go to the Elite Eight. And also these two teams playing each other means that Pac-12 is guaranteed to have a team in the Elite Eight. So I feel like everyone talking about how the Pac-12 is weak, that like the kind of general East Coast bias in the media that people tend to talk about, like there's no East Coast bias in this panel. Like we're dialed in, we're ready to roll. What do you guys think of that upcoming game?
Oh man. Well, if the Ducks can bring out the efficiency that they shot with Iowa in the next game, I feel like they have a great chance of bringing it home and advance to the Elite Eight. Although you go up against a great talent, Evan Mobley, and the SC defense, it's a lot of length on that team, and I feel that with the small ball lineup that Dana has, you can't count out the Ducks, and you can't count out Dana Altman as one of the national coaches of the years in this time of the season, because he always takes a group of transfers and gets them going. When you get late into what is it, February and March, you can't count him out in any way.
And Isaiah Mobley can say that the Ducks stole the Pac-12 regular season championship from them because Oregon had less games. USC also lost their final 2 games to Colorado and Utah, so they didn't really help their case there anyway. But
It's fair.
This USC team just gave Kansas their worst loss ever in the tournament. So let's take a look at this. So we have Oregon, who just quote unquote upset Iowa, beat them by 15. USC, who's red hot. As you said, one of these teams is going to make it to Elite Eight. I honestly don't know who needs to be more scared of who.
I don't know if either of them are going to be scared. I feel like at this point in the tournament, like you can't be scared. Like of any team playing, like if you go into that game scared, you've already lost, because like if the other team already has that advantage, you go coming out plus the momentum or all the energy, like unless you're way more talented, you're not going to win that game. But also if you're way more talented, you're not going to be scared. So, I mean, the matchup I think is fun. I think the nice thing, it benefits both teams. The nice thing for Oregon is like, you know what you're getting. You know, you've seen the team, you played against the team. Like, yes, the same argument can be made in reverse for Oregon, is that they've played against them. They know what works, they know what didn't. But like the difference, when Oregon played them, they were in that late season run where they were, I forget exactly how many games they played in. It was like 7 games in 10 days or 14 days or something like that. Whereas like, all right, now they have 4 days to get ready for this team. Like it's going to be a really fun matchup to watch. And I mean, UCLA, Oregon State also, like, hey, let's get 3 teams into the Elite Eight. Like I'm not going to be mad about it.
I think honestly, the most impressive part about Oregon's victory is, I was really waiting to see how they respond. They haven't played since they lost to Oregon State in the Pac-12 tournament. They've had a long time to rest. They didn't get to play Virginia Commonwealth because of COVID. So you're thinking, is that going to work against them? Is there rust? Or are they just going to, get practice more? And they came out shooting, and they darn near almost scored 100.
Yeah.
No, that's a great analysis there, TP. And you just saw there was no rust. There was legitimately a lot of chemistry with that group. And to Dana's point, his starters led the way. There weren't any bench scoring until probably 3 or 4 minutes left in the game from the phenomenal freshmen. And to that, you just see the chemistry of the group growing together. That core 5 was in and out of the lineup throughout the season, but now they're all back and healthy. You have a healthy Will Richardson. You have the second team All-American and Chris Duarte just lighting it up. And if they can keep up with the efficiency, I believe the team shot like 50% from the field throughout the game. That core five, they could be unstoppable.
For sure. And I feel like one thing that's kind of getting overlooked is Oregon's team last year, like I think was a little underrated. Like they were primed to make a run. Like both Oregon men and women's were ready to make a run. Everyone knew Oregon women's team was coming for that natty. They knew Oregon men's was good, but I don't think they knew how good. And I think the guys who are returning, like Will Richardson, Chris Duarte, some of those guys, like they're like, we didn't get our chance now, and they're kind of making up for it here. They're capitalizing on this one. And you saw it today with Duarte and Richardson. Everyone balled out, but those two guys went off. And now we mentioned the Oregon women's. Before we're done here, we got to touch on them. The first half, they held South Dakota State to 9 points. That's just like mean.
9 points is the fewest points that the Ducks have ever allowed in a half in program history. And of those 9 points, TJ, 8 were in the first quarter. I was sitting there on my couch watching. Now, it was great Oregon defense in the second quarter, but South Dakota also they set up these open threes and just missed them. 0 for 21 from the field in the second quarter. The 1 point they scored on a free throw in the last minute. So great defense, also poor shooting on South Dakota's part.
Fair.
I don't know what else I can say to that.
I mean, can we give Kelly Graves some credit? He pulls out the monster lineup in Sedona, Sabali, and Aaron Boley in the front court. And now you have at least 6'2" across the board. And given South Dakota State's, lack thereof of height, I believe the tallest girl or woman they had on the court there at the time was 6'3". Sedona's 6'7". Sabali is 6'3", and then Aaron is I'd say 5'11", 6 foot at best. And so now you're trying to shoot over length at the post and forward position, and they took it amongst the trees a couple of times, and Sedona rejected them kindly and respectfully, but it was women versus girls out there, and you just saw the efficiency again from Kelly Graves' group throughout the first half, and Aaron Boley shot the lights out.
And you know what, Juwaan, they really needed to make a statement too, because just like the men, the women were sitting on an Oregon State loss. That was their last game, and so they really needed to come out, make a statement. They did. You can't overlook any teams in the NCAA tournament, and they won by plenty, a comfortable margin. And now we'll see how they do against number 3 Georgia.
Yeah. They looked like they came out with something to prove, and I was anxious to see how they were going to come out, because this is a team full of talent. They've just been very kind of up and down all year, and some of that has to do with COVID, and they didn't necessarily get the same off season as they would have with all these freshmen and with Pow not playing and stuff like that. Like there's been a lot of things thrown into it for sure, but they came out looking like, hey, it's tournament. Like we're ready to roll. And they know that they got a beautiful opportunity for a national championship taken from them last year. And I think they're not going to forget that, and they're going to make a push to see what they can do. And now we got to see what they do against Georgia.
No, definitely. If Kelly Graves can roll out that monster lineup again with Sedona, Sabali, and Boley in the front court, I believe they have a great chance. Now you're going up against the SEC Coach of the Year, and she hangs her hat on defense. So we'll see what happens. You can definitely tell that Pow is missed from the lineup, just because towards the end of the game there, you saw the young guards of Oregon, get a little rattled and start to turn the ball over a little bit. And then if we can keep Sedona on the court for the whole 40 minutes, I feel like we have a great chance.
Absolutely. And now I promise Tyler's going to keep us more in check in future episodes, but
well, this was an Oregon Love Fest today.
We'll see you next time on the Oregon Fan Show on Fan Media.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, simply create a profile on Fan Media's iOS app or website. Select your teams and make a short intro video on your phone. Show hosts, reporters, former players, and superfans can use our Get Verified feature and make an intro video as well, and our mobile newsroom staff will reach out.